Hey, I just want to show some notes that might be helpful for you with using graphing calculator to do matrices. So this is the one that's on the Chromebook in the app that I shared with you that you might want to download. But I'll show you a couple key buttons as we go through this. So the first is how to put a matrix into your calculator. I like to use kind of the shortcut fast way, which is to push the alpha button. It's green, and then push zoom. So if I push alpha, this green button, and I know I've pushed it because the little A shows up, then I push zoom, and then I get this menu. In this menu, I can scroll up and figure out how many rows I need and scroll up and get how many columns. So if I need, let's say I need a 3, let's just start with a 3 by 3 matrix. And then I go back down to okay, I have to pick okay, and then it'll give me a blank one. And then I can put all the numbers in there I want. So I could put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One thing I'll warn you is if you use the typing keyboard, you're going to get a subtraction symbol, and you want to make sure you're using a negative so that it enters okay. So there's maybe my first matrix. So if I push enter, there it is. Now it's kind of stored. And if I need to multiply that, I can push times, and I can make, we'll say, another 3 by 3 matrix. And let's just make this one 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Feeling very fancy with my matrices today. If I do that, and I can multiply them, and it'll tell me what I get. Okay. And so I can just multiply and add and subtract the way I would do all sorts of things normally, as long as my matrices are the right size. Now, if I go back up, I can push enter and I can get that matrix back. If I want to do an inverse, actually, before we even do that, I'm going to clear this real quick. If I want to do the determinant, to do the determinant, I need to go in the matrix menu. So if I push, let's see, it's blue. If I push second, and then I push x negative 1, I will get the matrix menu, which is listed up above there in blue. And there's lots of good matrix stuff I can do in there. So let's say I wanted to do the matrix I just had, and I wanted to take the determinant of it. So I'm going to go second matrix, and I'm going to go over to math, and now I see all these choices. So first one I see is det, and det just means determinant. So I'm going to take a determinant of, let's say, a 3 by 3, because that's what I've been working with so far. And let's say I'm going to go and I'm just going to start typing in numbers. These don't come from anywhere. It's just me feeling cool and picking numbers. So I pick that one. The determinant of that matrix is -8. That's where that's coming from. And that's a great way to figure out determinant. If I did it again, so second matrix, and I went over and I did determinant again, and let's say I did a 3 by 3, and let's say I did that 6, 6, 6, 15, really 1, 1, 1, 6, 6, 6. And I can see that it's 0. And remember, if you get a determinant of 0, means the matrix is singular. And there's no inverse. So just a helpful way to check and see whether or not you have inverses. But let's say it's not 0. Let's go back to our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I can put that matrix in. And I can do 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, hang on. Well, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. I think this will work. But to do an inverse, I just push the x negative 1 button. So that'll give me an inverse. So if I'm keeping maybe a better list of my notes here, this first one is to enter a matrix. And then this next one gave us all sorts of calculations. And then, so like determinant was in there. So if I do this -1 button, which is the same as the matrix button with the letter D by it, if I push that, it will tell me what the inverse is. If those numbers look ugly, I can always push math, enter, to get our triangle frac. If you don't remember how to get triangle frac, that is a super helpful thing on our graphing calculator. So triangle frac, and I can see it as fraction form. Not that that's super important, but that's a nice little pro tip, so to speak. The final thing I'm going to show you is that RREF. So in that matrix menu, if I go back in there, I also can get, if I go second and I push that x -1 and get into all those calculations, that is where RREF lives. I'm going to show you how that works in a second. So second matrix, and I'm going to go to math. That's an important piece here. I'm going to scroll for days, right? I go past 9 to 10, get into the letters. There's RREF. And so now I can take any matrix I want. So I'm going to make alpha zoom so I can pick a matrix. And most of the time, these have numbers over here. So I'm going to go back and put a fourth column in. A lot of times, the whole point of doing RREF is to solve a system. So we'd have a column for X, column for Y, column for Z, and a column for answers. So now I'm just going to start typing numbers. None of these, we'll roll with it. None of these are super fancy. I am literally just making things up as I go. Clearly. So like if you want to see it done with something off one of the worksheets, let me know. But if I do this, here's what's important about RREF. Remember in RREF, we are looking at a 1 in the first column followed by some zeros and then a number. And then a 0 and then a 1 and then a 0 and then a 0, 0, 1. Let's just for fun, let's see if this actually is any nice numbers. Nice is a relative term, but we'll work with it. But what this would tell us is that we would have x equals something, y equals something, or z equals something. So that's kind of why we do it. But as far as actually doing it, definitely use ref in that matrix menu. So a lot of different things you can do with matrices in a calculator. Let me know if you have any questions on anything, but I think you've got this.